Mr. Chair, I don't think Dr. Sangha will mind me doing this if instead of asking him questions, I actually want to take this round, and I think it will maybe take about 5 minutes, to move a motion that reflects one of his asks, and I think it would be a matter of consensus for the committee. So I want to move that this committee call for dialogue between the Central Tibetan Administration and the government of the People's Republic of China, with the view to allowing the exercise of genuine autonomy for Tibet within the framework of the Chinese Constitution, and report this motion to the House.
Mr. Chair, so building on what Mr. Oliphant just mentioned, I think the position of various Canadian governments are exactly that. The dialogue and the Sino-Tibetan dialogue needs to restart. That's been consistent. But I also think there's a fundamental misunderstanding amongst large parts of the Canadian populace about what the middle way approach is. So that's the first point of concern, about just having people have a better understanding of what would be in the content of a motion. The second point is that Dr. Sangha very rightfully raised a number of issues that bear a lot of scrutiny and a lot of understanding and consideration by this committee about what a potential motion might look like. So such as things like reciprocal access and things like other nations that have passed legislation that relates to this principle of reciprocity. And the third issue that was raised was that the commonality with various different human rights causes, such as Hong Kong, the Uyghurs, Taiwanese, with the Tibetan cause. So in my view, having as broad and as sweeping an analysis before putting forward a motion might be the best way forward, because I think it's clear that from Dr. Sangha's testimony, what we are upon is an opportune time to shine a light on human rights abuses, but doing that with a more of a multilateral approach, bringing in multiple issues and multiple stakeholders and multiple nations. Thank you.
Need to be clear on the specifics of this motion. This motion is simply calling for dialogue between the Central Tibetan Administration and the People's Republic of China, with a view toward allowing the exercise of genuine autonomy for Tibet within the framework of the Chinese Constitution, and we're reporting this motion to the House. So absolutely, we would want to, at a later date, do other studies, and because it is an important topic. And our next study is not this. Our next study, depending on what we decide, is on Hong Kong, and we will look at other things as well. So for us at this moment to say that we don't have enough information, or that we would need to do a further study to be able to call for dialogue, I'm quite disconcerted about that. So I would like to say, ask my honorable colleagues to vote in favor of this motion, which is not in any way precluding us from doing further studies, but simply shows our commitment to the situation in Tibet by calling for dialogue. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I have Mr. Janice.